August 20th, 1966. Niterói, Brazil. A hilltop overlooking the ocean. Two men, lying side by side in the grass. Dead. They were dressed in suits. Beside them, two empty bottles of mineral water, a packet of biscuits, and a handwritten note. The note read, on their faces, lead masks, hand-cut from sheet lead. No lenses, no filters, just crude eye holes covering nothing, protecting nothing. Manuel Pereira de Cruz, Mario Martins de Lima, both electrical technicians, both experienced, both dead on a hill, with masks they made themselves and a note that has never been fully explained. 58 years later, we still don't know what they were waiting for. The men were found by a teenage boy. A kite had landed near the hill. He climbed up to retrieve it. Instead, he found them. Police arrived within the hour. No signs of violence, no struggle, no external wounds of any kind. The autopsy revealed nothing. Not because the bodies were decomposed. They had been dead less than 24 hours. The cause of death was simply not found. The organs were healthy. The toxicology inconclusive. The official cause of death undetermined. Both men had left their homes that morning, telling their families they would return by evening. They were seen purchasing the waterproof coats they were wearing. They bought the mineral water. They went to the hill, and they never came back. The lead masks were most unusual detail. Sheet lead, the kind used in construction, cut by hand, roughly shaped, two identical eye holes, placed carefully over their faces. Think about that. These were not theatrical props. These were not decorations. Two grown men, electrical technicians with families, climbed a hill, put on hand-cut lead masks, and waited. Investigators found one more thing. In the area around the bodies, trace evidence of an unknown substance. The exact nature of that substance was never publicly confirmed. One detail from the note disturbed investigators more than anything else. Protect metals. From what? What were they protecting the metals from? What signal were they waiting for? And why, of all the things you could wear on a hill, in the middle of summer, did they choose lead masks? The answers that followed were stranger than the question.
You may think that this is a Catholic procession. In a way, you would be right. For most Umbandistas are also Catholics.
Brazil in 1966 was not like other countries. Spiritism, the practice of communicating with the dead through ritual, had millions of followers, not as a fringe belief, as a mainstream religion. Some investigators believed the men were participants in a ritual contact attempt. The capsules mentioned in the note, possibly psychedelic substances. The masks, protection during an altered state. The signal, a spiritual communication. The timeline in the note supports this. 1630 arrive. 1830 take the capsules. Wait for the signal. Under this theory, something went wrong with the capsules. An overdose. A contamination. A reaction nobody anticipated. What this theory cannot explain is the lead. Spiritist rituals in Brazil used candles, water, flowers, not sheet lead, not hand-cut industrial masks. The lead was specific, deliberate, functional. It was protecting against something physical, not spiritual. Stop. Before the next theory, consider what we actually know about these two men. Manuel and Mario were not mystics. They were electrical technicians. Precise, technical men. Men who understood shielding. Men who understood radiation. Men who understood protection. Lead blocks radiation. That is its primary industrial use. If you were expecting exposure to something electromagnetic, something with high energy output, you would wear lead. Theory 2 proposes they were attempting to make contact with something that emitted dangerous levels of energy. Not spiritual contact, physical contact. The capsules, not psychedelics. Medications, possibly potassium iodide, used to protect the thyroid from radiation exposure. Under this theory, they were not performing a ritual. They were running an experiment, and they knew the experiment was dangerous. What this theory cannot explain is what they were expecting to make contact with, and why on that specific hill, on that specific day, at that specific time. In the weeks following the discovery, something unexpected happened. Witnesses came forward. Multiple, independent witnesses from the neighborhood below the hill reported seeing an orange light hovering over Morro do Ventum on the evening of August 20th. Not one witness, not two, several, from different locations, describing the same thing at the same time. Brazilian authorities investigated the sighting. The witnesses were considered credible. No aircraft was scheduled over the area. No weather phenomenon was identified. The sighting was logged, and then quietly filed away. Theory 3 does not require you to believe in extraterrestrial life. It only requires you to accept what the evidence actually shows. Two technically trained men, prepared with precision, lead shielding, time capsules, a specific location, a specific signal, and an unexplained light directly above them at the exact time they died. What Theory 3 cannot explain is everything else. Why did no one else die? Why was the substance never identified? Why did Brazil's government close the investigation without a cause of death? Morro do Ventum still stands. The hill hasn't changed. People hike it on weekends. Families, tourists, children. There is no marker, no plaque, no sign that two men died there, waiting for something that may or may not have arrived. The case was formally closed in 1966, with no cause of death determined. Brazil's federal police investigated, found nothing conclusive, closed the file. In 2013, 47 years later, the case was briefly reopened. New forensic technology, new analysis. The result, still undetermined. What stays with me about this case is not the UFO reports. It's not the unexplained substance. It's not even the cause of death. It's the preparation. These men woke up that morning. They had breakfast. They kissed their families goodbye. They went to a hardware store and bought sheet lead. They cut it into masks with their own hands. They climbed a hill. They took capsules. They put on the masks, and they waited. Whatever they were waiting for, they believed in it completely. That is what makes this case different from every other unsolved mystery. Most mysteries are accidents. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong decision. This one was intentional. Every detail planned, every step chosen. Two men decided that whatever was on that hill was worth dying for. The real question isn't what killed them. The real question is, what did they see that made them so certain it would come? The lead mask's case has no explanation, but it has a brother, a case from the same decade, where the government didn't close the file. They burned it.